Over 2 years of waiting, and it is finally time. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome to our first look at Manor Lords, an incredibly beautiful looking game with farming, combat, building militaries, and of course, a home to call our own. Check this out, folks. This is a beautiful looking game, and this is just a demo, a snippet of all the features that will be in Manor Lords. We built ourselves a beautiful city here, so glory to Raptoria down below in that comment section. Come on now, get it done. Glory to Raptoria. Check this out. We've taken over one of the regions here in the corner of the map, and many more to conquer through our influence and trade to where we can take over the entirety of this area and call it our own. It's going to be quite nice to be able to name each of these regions. But check it out. We've got things like farming going on here, house building, and more. And not to mention, check this out. This is amazing. Yeah, brother. Third-person mode, or I guess kind of like a first-person mode. We get to walk around as our lord and boss around the peasants, I suppose. Pretty amazing, actually. Oh, yes. This is all the city we built for ourselves. That's incredible. Custom home layouts, a marketplace, and much, much more. Amazing, isn't it? Very cool. You can hit that button at any time and walk around your city. Right here, we were just walking around near this windmill. But yeah, now the game currently doesn't have an army or military recruitment in it just yet. That's something that will not be included with the demo for now, but it will eventually come soon. And there's also not saving, so there's lots of opportunity to restart and do things differently and settle in different regions, and lots to discover at the top of the screen too. And so this is just a simple early access demo of what's to come, hopefully next year when Manor Lords is more complete. There's also a tech tree for the game too. Development, policy, and production, which is locked for this demo as well, currently in progress. But we have 2 points to spend, which would certainly help. But a lot of things are work in progress and complete. But for it being by a single developer, damn, is it amazing. All right, let's jump over to the main menu where we're going to start this city from scratch. This is the end work of what's to come. So if you want to see how everything turns out and how it's all built and the struggles and trials and tribulations and all the things that we've learned, oh, it's going to be a long one. So make sure you go ahead and check it out now. Welcome, everybody, to Manor Lords. Oh, my God. All those areas we can actually build in. You could actually see a city that you built over here from here. I can't believe it. All right, enough. To the main menu we go. Manor Lords has got to be one of the most highly anticipated city builders ever featured on this channel. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome to our first look at Manor Lords. Today we're going to take a look at the city building aspect of the game during its Steam demo, but there is much more coming in terms of building and managing and fighting with your very own army, taking over other types of regions, building them up, naming them, and lots and lots and lots of customization, which is absolutely paramount in a game like this. Incredibly promising. We've all been very excited for it, and now finally everyone, including you, gets to take a look at it for this week on Steam, by the way, until October 10th. So make sure you download it now on the Steam Next event. Otherwise, add Manor Lords to your wish list. From afar, I've been observing this game for a very long time, and it's been nothing but hype and promise and lots and lots of excitement, and it certainly seems so far with a little bit of practice, it's starting to live up to it for sure. So, without further ado, thank you very much for smashing that like button. Welcome to all of the new subscribers. By the way, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Most people forget to do that and miss out on lots of extra live streams, giveaways, and more. So if you're interested in winning a full key to Manor Lords, make sure you do that and spam glory to Raptoria down below in the comment section. And welcome again to all of your awesome new members. Thank you very much to all of you clicking to tap and join and becoming a member of the community. Let's take a look at some of the customization options in the game. Not only can we start our very own city in Rise to Prosperity, which is where we'll be the first lord to settle new lands, but also other types of campaigns too, such as a realm conquest that we can do through force or through diplomacy and influence, or the Robber Baron, fighting a kind of a rebel force in the area, which kind of reminds me of how it is in the Stronghold campaign from so long ago. Well, let's go ahead and start with the Rise to Prosperity campaign, which, by the way, again, in this campaign, we'll only be able to see the city building aspects, but remember, there will be military stuff coming soon. Wow. Look at that. It's a hell of a lot of customization here, and of course, not only the ability to pick our own portrait, everything from binging with Babbage to a young PewDiePie, but also, of course, our very own coat of arms that we can customize with different types of colors and shapes and patterns, and that's pretty amazing, actually, that we can do everything, including adjusting the angle of different types of things. Wow, look at that. Yep. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's actually very, very cool. I've never seen a game allow you to get into that much detail. We'll make our own coat of arms here in just a moment, but let's choose a character to go with. We'll go with Sir, what's his name? From this guy really reminds me of the guy from Stronghold, but we'll be Sir Raptor of Raptoria, of course. We'll name our city shortly, and then we'll go into let's see, the coat of arms creator. Let's go with something. Let's go with something a little simple here. We have a lot of options to choose and design our own patterns. Everything from kind of a blank background to all sorts of different patterns and, yeah, different types of layouts depending on whatever you want to do. We'll go with something a little blank for now. Let's go with, let's see, maybe a bird. That might be good. Oh, that's very cool, in fact. And we can also, of course, make multiple birds if we want to and adjust their size and scale. Way too much detail, I must say. Wow, and the ability to add all sorts of different... Are these layers? Yeah, of course, and the ability to also color them. We'll go with something simple for now. Let's go with just the bird, and we'll get into it then. I think that looks really good. I like that already. But of course, tons and tons of different symbols and patterns to add to your customization, which is really good, because especially if you're going to be having this on your shields and banners in battle, you want it to look damn good as you're taking over the world. All right, let's go. And here we are. Much to do, much to do, much to do. Oh, look at that. A new message. Establishing a foothold. There's a fire in the heart of every settlement, a bastion of safety, warmth, and light against the darkness of the world. On this cold spring morning, your men blow on their fingertips, their breath clouding in the air. But there's plenty of work to warm them. As the toil begins, you can almost imagine you hear the ring of anvils, the toiling of bells, the cries of the marketplace. Possibilities. In the distance, fogs linger in the hollows of the land, and the world is quiet, watchful, waiting for you to choose which of those to make real. Objectives: build a granary, logging camp, forge your hut, and a storehouse. We have 365 days to do so. Well... welcome, everybody, to not Layfield, but of course, the tech tree, which is not available in the demo, apparently. Well, let's go ahead and rename this, of course, Raptoria. It begins! It begins. All right, let's go with that one then. And let's take a look at the tech tree anyway. Does it show anything? Looks like it's mostly unknown, but it looks like some are leaning towards production, some might be leaning towards transportation and trade. Farming, and then something else at the bottom, not sure exactly. Maybe more types of production. Maybe this is harvesting, actually, of natural resources. So we have development, policy, and production to set in the future game, but for now, let's go ahead and pause and take a look at the entire map. Ah, there she is, Raptoria. The region view shows us what regions are under our control. We can, of course, then conquer other ones with war or influence many other ways to conquer or interact with the other districts or other regions based on who may be there, like, for example, trade. Grain, all sorts of different things, meats, eggs, cheese can all be traded there. Got it. All right, so in our little area, we have ourselves multiple wild animals, we have berries, we have stone deposit and iron. We also have trade depots in other areas as well. But there are roads that you can see that run through the whole map, and as we build those, or rather the cities that we build, will show up on these maps too. So these are actually realistic maps that'll show all the different things going on. Rivers, for example, lakes, streams, and other areas that we may want to take over at some other time. Good. Let's return to Raptoria then. Alright, so it looks like a narrow roadway with a valley all the way through the city here, or rather the region, to the city, which is up here on the hill. An easily defendable area, but I'm not sure exactly if we can build defenses or whatnot. But let's get started. I don't think we can do that in this demo. However, you clearly see that there's army and military recruitment at the bottom, that's for sure. Alright, problems exist already. Exposed storage and exposed food that will be damaged or decay by rain. And it looks like we also have homeless families, and that's not good either. Looks like we've started with a few supplies of food and wood. We have ourselves an ox, which will, of course, transport things around, such as the grain and also the logs that we cut down, and our tents, too. Very similar start already to Ostriv, a game based in Ukraine, made by a Ukrainian developer. Kind of similar to this as well, where it's a very small or singular person team and, you know, following their dream of building a beautiful city builder. And this one, I mean, look at that. We're not even just looking at a map here. We're looking at like a world map. All the other regions that we can conquer or take over are visible here. So at some point when we build this city up, and if we build another city off in the distance, it should be visible. That's going to be incredible. Looks like there's road building in the game, and yes, indeed, we can build curved roads. Some workers can use hand carts to transport goods more effectively, up to 10 items at once. That's going to be certainly important to build certain types of structures connected to roads, although not everything has to be connected. Probably in our best interest to do that. Wow, and look at that. You can actually see the curvature and the elevation here based on all the different types of lines that kind of reflect the peaks and the valleys of the land around us. Ooh, and there's a lot of wildlife over here, too. Lots and lots of deer. Very nice. All right, let's get started. First things first on the list. Granary, build 1. So we have here logging camps, woodcutters, forester huts, forager huts, and also hunting camps. Very nice. We also have the ability to mine. Looks like that'll be for clay or iron ore. Keep in mind this is also work in progress, so some of the images and whatnot may say work in progress or just might not be reflected. In other words, a picture of it doesn't really exist just yet. We have a granary, storehouse, and a hitching post there. We have all sorts of buildings for building homes, to which the homes can actually grow their own crops and such too, or be customized to have goats or chickens with certain requirements met. Wells and market areas, food stalls, clothing, and firewood stalls. Taverns and churches. We also have the ability to have our own farm fields, start our own farms, pastures, sheep farms, windmills, and communal ovens. And we have the ability to take that iron from the iron mine and turn that into iron slabs at the bloomery, then to smith that into tools at the smithy, and then a malt house and a brewery, which we must be able to have some sort of hop farms then too in order to turn that into beer or different types of ale or whatnot. Tannery and a weaver workshop, as well as our own trading post and livestock trading post. So 2 different buildings there for gathering or trading animals, and so that'll help us with our livestock. And then eventual defensive structures, gatehouses, manor house, a bailey wall, tax collector, of course that would be under defenses. No, it's administration and military, and then also the garrison tower. So we have the ability for ranged attacks. Looks like that actually holds 12 retainers. Interesting. Oh, it's a module for the manor, so defenses can be built onto that perhaps in the future. All right, well, let's go ahead and start them by putting down our, let's go with the granary then. That should be under storage. We'll put that somewhere, maybe near the food. I mean, our food source is probably going to have to be deer at some point. We also have berries up here, but this would be a nice central location for it, so let's put that down by the already pre-existing road. And by the way, look at how amazing the trees already look. Unassigned peasants are automatically assigned to work on construction. Got it. We have 5 unassigned families, 0 assigned families. So we have 5 people living here. There's our approval rating, public order, regional wealth, livestock, a number of months before supplies run out. So we could have spoilage. We'll need to be careful about that. We have 3 months of food storage and also 20 months of firewood. There's the name of the city, although we rename that, I guess, but it doesn't reflect it. Let's see, we have crops, food, fuel, which, by the way, under food, you can see all the different types of meat, vegetables, berries. Looks like item 173, 152, salted meat, eggs, and milk, so some of them haven't been named yet. We have fuel, timber, stone, tools, materials, some of which there look to be perhaps cloth, honey, wax, woad. Okay, flour. And commodities, oh yeah, it looks like ale and beer. Looks like there could be hops there too, as well as barrels. So there is a lot to this game. If you've watched the channel recently too, Farthest Frontier is another game to simulate a lot of the commodities that can be made in this game, although that game is a little bit more like Anno 1800 or 1404, for example. But this game certainly does feel like all the things I love about Ostriv and Farthest Frontier and a few other games all combined. All right, first construction site then, the Granary. The oxen there delivered a little log that'll then be constructed into, well, foundation will have to be built, and then rafters and other things will be constructed here shortly. All right, would you look at that? Very nice. Now, our workers are probably only going to build one building at a time, so let's start with that, and then let's put a hunter's hut next to that. There are prioritizations of buildings, so we could go ahead and assign a building to be number 1 and then number 2, for example. Let's go with our hunting post. There it is, a hunting camp. And let's go ahead and turn off snap to road. If we turn that off, we could probably build it somewhat close to the road. And we can rotate by holding left click. Yeah, so we can rotate pretty much any direction we want. So we could face this section towards the road if we want to. Build it next to the storage granary there. And then build our road down to the other road, the pre-existing road. There we go, which already seems to be existing as well, the little connection. And this road is already pre-designed too. To which we can see a merchant coming through. If we have a trading post, we'll be able to buy and sell things to that merchant, so that'll be fantastic. Let's build a road up to the town then, shall we? Let's go ahead and make this our intersection. And we'll build a nice windy road just to show that we can actually adjust the road curvature too. So if we hold control and use the mouse wheel back and forth, we can kind of adjust the curvature based on each of the node sites that we choose. So as you can see, as we increase and decrease it, seems like the sweet spot is somewhere around just over the middle point here. We'll make a nice road that goes up to the city. And yeah, we certainly want it to go up to the top. Something along these lines. We'll try to follow the curvature here a little bit. And we need to build up to an already existing hitching post and a area for initial settlers to live, kind of like a maybe a starting camp. Homeless tents, okay. So we have our homeless tents here, and we have our hitching post where things can be transported back and forth. Interestingly enough, the hitching post, although it has no workers assigned to it, already has somebody working there. And it looks like buildings can be relocated as well. Additionally, it looks like there are small walking paths for the roads that we can construct, and then also larger roads on the pre-existing roads of the region. Here we see Fritz already being escorted back. Fritz is the name of our ox, I guess. Why is it going so slow? It's on the Fritz. Alright, so our granary is going down. Our hunting camp is almost complete. Let's put a storehouse down here too. In fact, if we do trading down here, it'd be a good idea to have a lot of these resources ready to go or immediately stored. And this is kind of a nice spot to put them. Looks like it's going to take 2 wood to build this. We're getting a little low on wood. Let's go ahead and finish this up. There we go. And let's connect it over to this other building there. It kind of looks cool how things are kitty corner like that. We can always adjust that too by deleting the road later on. Alright, you can now assign workers and remove workers. So we can assign somebody to work at the granary, but there's no food to take just yet. So we'll go ahead and work on that in just a moment. Let's go ahead and assign a few people to work at a lumber mill. So we have a woodcutter lodge. That makes firewood. And we have a logging camp, which cuts down trees for timber. Now, there's lots of trees up here, and eventually we're going to build a city at the top of this hill, so it might be a good idea to build it up here. Although we're going to leave the berries alone, as that could possibly kill the area where they could be gathered. Check this out too. We have the ability to look at underground water, emmer fertility, which is a type of grain, flax, which is used for the growing of, well, essentially to make linen. As you can see, not a lot of great fertility here for flax as well. Take a look at a couple of other things. Barley and rye. Rye is a great crop to grow here. And also the smell, which I'm assuming is related to livestock, and perhaps if we have ourselves some sort of a compost heap, That would be something that people don't want to live next to and could possibly spread disease. Okay, let's go ahead and work on the timber camp now. We'll go ahead and build that all the way up here. Maybe back into the trees slightly even. Uprooted trees. Ooh, I don't want to really cut too many down. But we do want to leave some of this area for houses. We could build it here. This might be a better spot. Let's see if we can get away with just one tree, that would be okay. Let's go with that. We'll build a road maybe facing this direction through the town. Let's try to go with one, maybe two trees at most. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to build a road for our homes. And some of these storage areas will eventually be moved when the oxen either transports it to the storage area or it gets used for eventual home construction. Luckily, we do start with some materials. Now, one of the things that I didn't mention or show at the very start of this video is that for this particular scenario, you have a few different starts. You have like a standard start or a double supply start. We also can control the weather, too, in terms of having weather events. So things like storms and other things that might affect, for example, crop fertility are existent in the game. They do exist. Alright, let's go ahead and build something along these lines. There we go. And we'll try to lay out the city the best we can. Now, of course, we don't want to do grid as much as possible, and certainly the land is kind of wanting us to build more freely, but in terms of trying to be efficient with our space and also to build some of the homes so they can have larger gardens, we're going to try to build a square if we can when the time comes. So, the granary is complete, the logging camp was just put down, the forger hut and the storehouse will be completed soon. And look at how these buildings are constructed. Incredible. It seems like each one of the individual rafters are put into place, all the foundations are put into place. You have people debarking logs and shaping those pieces of wood to fit buildings like this. Look at the detail here. This is the granary, so it's sitting up off the ground. There's a small little area here on the left side to store one of the wagons here. We also have ourselves just beautiful woodwork here, and you can almost see it bending a little bit. It doesn't sit flat here. You can see a little bit of kind of the lumber and such being, the planks here being a little uneven. Absolutely gorgeous. And a wonderful looking building. This is a granary. This is a regular old food storage building, and it looks incredible. Hunting camp here too. We'll have to assign somebody to that then. Let's go ahead and get started on gathering food. Now, just like with the other buildings, we can adjust the work size, or rather with the roads, we can increase the curvature of those by hitting control and scrolling up. But here we can actually kind of control the area of work. So we can take from both of these pastures or both of these areas where deer are spotted often. Looks like somewhere between about 40 deer at each area. So we don't want to overhunt. We can actually set a limit for that too, for the amount of deer. Hunting limit will be 20. So we better get somebody assigned to the granary too. So the hunter and the granary will work together to hunt the animal and then go store it. So that's already 2 of our families assigned out of 5, leaving us with 3 to go. And more people will move in soon. So let's get started on bringing in those families, shall we? Let's go ahead and start building the housing plots. So these are known as burgage plots, and these will allow us to build homes, but also if they have a plus sign in them, if we build them large enough, they'll have areas for extension. Now, not every home needs to have this, and they can be a little expensive to build, but check that out. We have to place 4 borders, and then of course we can rotate 2, so we can change which direction the homes are facing if we want to, and that also helps for us to fit more buildings in, and also choose whether or not we want specializations for them or extension upgrades, which again, that's for livestock and that's for extra farming, things like that, which could help if there's going to be a shortage of food for the first few years, which in this case there could be for the first year since we don't have any farming up and a very limited population. A lot of work to be done, not a lot of hands to do it. Let's go ahead and try to build it along this way. As you can see, a little too small. Wow, it's only going to hold 2 homes too, so these areas have to be quite large in order to hold, the homes and the extensions. Looks like we don't have enough resources just yet, but I love how you can build with these. You can just basically left click, and if you don't like something, you can right click to go back to the previous point like that. So you can build very weird looking plots that fit into certain landscape types, and it tries to help you to build the most efficient area you can in the landscape. So that's going to be quite good. A good bonus for us. Alright, the next thing to be built will be the logging camp. Lower right corner, you see the time of year too. It's April of our first year in the city. Lots of other things to inspect too, like for example our influence, the king's favor, annual royal tax, and treasury. The king's favor and the diplomacy of this game reminds me of how it works in another game you may have heard of called Foundation. And Foundation is a game similar to this in many ways, where it does allow you to start your very own kingdom and build manors and custom buildings like that, and areas for homes, but you're appealing to a king. You yourself are not the king, but you're going to have to try to win the king's favor by supplying the kingdom with things they may need for campaigns and whatnot. Look at this rain. Wow, let's slow it down for a second. Jeez. The music in this game, incredible. The rain, astonishing. The shine on the ground, small puddles and things like that. And of course, the ability to walk around in it on our own is amazing. Absolutely incredible. That we can inspect the work and go into first-person mode and see structures being built, such as our little storage building there, our hunting cabin here, and the granary on the other side. And the fact that we can walk up and go up the roads that we just built into town, incredible. Of course, we can hold shift to sprint a little bit. And this leads me to believe that we might be able to do some first-person or rather third-person combat in actual military campaigns. This is really impressive. The fact that this is just thrown is amazing. It really reminds me of the first-person mode from Anno 1800, where you can, of course, build your city and then walk around it. But look at this. This game is ridiculous. No reason it needs to look this good, but yet it does. Incredible detail to the ground with all sorts of different flowers. You can see like clovers and grass, different types of grass and flowers and weeds, and I almost can feel like I can feel bugs flying around and stuff. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Is this a VR game? You know? Well, probably not quite, but it's very close to nature for sure. Now, in another game called Life is Feudal Forest Village, you're allowed to control some of the characters in your city in that game and do actual jobs, such as becoming a hunter. It'd be really great in this game if you could actually be a hunter as well. Oh, you just showing off, bro? You just flexing? Yeah, we get it. You're tough. But anyway, it would be nice if we could actually go and do those types of things in this game, too. Now, right now, all this rain is going to make all this bread and firewood and stuff go bad, so we're working on getting that to where it needs to go. So if we head back down here, the Granary is working on bringing those things, including bread, to the pantry. So he's working on that. Let's go ahead and get a few more people to help get those things into storage then. And the storehouse just completed. Excellent. Let's do this then. We'll put one person on the Granary. Actually, we'll do two. We'll do 2 people on the Granary, 2 people on the storehouse, and then we'll kind of monitor the situation as the homes are also going to be constructed here shortly. We have ourselves 2 timber, so we then need our timber lodge to be completed. Our logging camp must be wrapped up here shortly. Amazing rain. Now, of course, there are seasons in this game too, so not only do the months matter, but mostly because of the seasons based on the farming. So, of course, each crop will farm differently in different seasons. You can't produce much of anything in the winter, but it is a good thing to be able to have extra food from those homes throughout the year too. Of course, the farms themselves will give those things like barley, flax, and emmer, which will give us, and actually rye, barley, and emmer, which will give us, of course, plenty of stuff for the windmill to make bread, turning it into flour. All right, let's go ahead and also build ourselves a forager. There is a small little berry deposit over there, so let's go ahead and build that next to the, oh, we could try to build it right here. Let's actually build it a little more custom. There we go. Now, whenever he screams and says, "Get to work, lads," it reminds me of building something in Frostpunk. Absolutely. Let's build a little curved road here. Now, of course, I think these roads do snap together, but some things can be chosen not to snap. Go ahead and build it like that. There we go. Doesn't have to be perfect. It looks great regardless. The inconsistencies, the flaws, some of the, you know, the custom buildings really make it feel realistic by not looking completely, how do we say, perfect? It doesn't look like a video game building. It looks like an actual structure that exists in real life with its different types of wear and tear and different construction materials too, such as the thatch or straw being used versus wooden shingles. Very nice. And you can actually see materials in storage there, so firewood in the storehouse and wagons that can transport that. Pretty good. Okay. Well, the logging camp is now being constructed. Materials are being brought up as quickly as they can. Let's go ahead and reduce the number of people working at the granary and the storehouse, as that might add more people used to eventually become laborers. So it says families without a permanent job will work on construction and repair. That is another thing that we need to do, is leave some unassigned to become workers for the production of those buildings. So it looks like we have 2 logs here, and it looks like this building is all workers busy waiting for their turn. Looks like it takes just 2 logs to construct, or perhaps that's what we have in storage. Looks like there's already 2 sitting there, so we'll just need someone to bring over Fritz here shortly. No guide available, it says. Let's see if we can get somebody to guide Fritz shortly. Now, I think that oxen there actually works as a construction vehicle too, so I think if anybody's on assigned, they'll come over and work to move him. Otherwise, doing it full time will also help with the moving of grain to the granary. Alright, let's see how this all plays out then. So we'll have the logging camp constructed, then the forager hut. Let's try to build a few more roads here. There we go. We'll make this section a little gridiron. It'll make it a little easier to fit some of our larger buildings, such as the church, which we could build on the other side. And the church is a building that will be required later on, and is quite large compared to other buildings. In fact, just slightly larger, it looks like, than the logging camp, just a little bit. And a lot of these buildings can also be upgraded too, so it's a good idea for us to be able to put these somewhere where they can eventually possibly be upgraded in their size. Potentially. I'm always erring on the side of caution in this case. Alright, berries over there. Looks like a stone deposit just at the end of this road here. In the woods here, you can see the stone there. And there's also iron, which if we look at the overlay for iron, which we might be able to, it should show the iron deposit as some sort of an orange, yeah, an orange deposit if we try to build over it. Almost looks like fire if you're not paying attention. Alright, logging camp is getting done. Excellent. Hunting, storage, all going on. Excellent. Very slow construction the first year. Population at 5. We can only increase our population when we build more homes, and that will take logs from the logging camp.
There's no oval. Tomorrow, find a new home or town.
Our friend here not too happy about not having a home at the moment, but considering the fact that they have some tents, they do at least have some sort of temporary home. And we'll build some better ones shortly. Alright, let's speed up time then. We've got our plan. We're going to finish the logging camp and assign somebody to that, and then start constructing homes here as soon as we can. The forager hut will be up shortly, and that'll be the last of our objectives as well. Now, the logging camp has an unlimited work area, but we can also tell it where we want them to work too. Let's go ahead and clear out this area just next to the town, where eventually the iron mine will be built, and we'll have to see about desirability for that. Alright. Let's also go ahead and remove somebody from the storehouse. Well, let's make sure all these things are moved. Just a few more supplies. You can see the worker running back and forth. Looks like our people are mostly trying to take the shortest route, which is going directly from the end of the road here rather than taking the curved road. So we'll go ahead and build that the whole way. those people are just like an Ostrafe. The humble beginnings. Your supplies are dry and secure, and the first stage of work is done. The stories your people tell around the fire are of the many dangers in the world, from beasts to blights, strange tales about foxes who go on pilgrimage, or small creatures who spin gold from sunset to sunrise. They tell these stories to put common names to their fears. Soon they'll teach these stories to their own children. It's time to bring wives and children to the settlement, now that they can take shelter and proper homes. For your lands to prosper and grow, you'll need not only workers, but families. We'll need to build a well now and a few homes. Let's go ahead and build what they'll need. Well, well, well. This should be quite easy. Alright, so there's our underground water. We'll probably keep it somewhere close to the camp. Let's build it maybe down here. Now, we don't have any sort of wood at the moment. I think we have one, yes. So we will be able to snap that there and build that between the lines. There we go. And now we'll have to gather some wood in order to build homes. Let's go ahead and speed that up. And we'll need to gather a lot more timber. Now, how are we doing on food? 30 meat and 10 bread. Alright. That's good. Let's go ahead and take one person off the hunting camp and the granary for now and add them to the logging camp. And this will allow us to get the homes complete, attracting more people to the camp and allowing us to do way more jobs. Great in this game, too. You can hear every piece of little chopping. And, of course, the workers will run away from a tree, too, as it's being cut down, so that way they're clear. Really cool how you can actually hear it. And see it, too, if you zoom in close enough. Alright, let's speed up. Wait a few months for a few timber to be gathered. And let's build our homes. Glory to Raptoria. Let's see what would happen if we were to lay it out like this. Now, we're supposed to build 5 homes. This would give us 6. Which will cost us 12 wood. Amazing. You can see how large these homes actually will be, considering the fact that the land is nice and hilly. Quite interesting to be able to build in an area like that. We can also, of course, build here, but we've got to clear some of the land. But we must be mindful of destroying habitats around us, so that way we can still use the resources. Obviously, cutting down a bunch of trees where deer feel safe, and of course, overhunting them will mean no more deer, which means no more food for us. Not good. So we need to be mindful about how we choose to harvest those resources and how much we harvest. We're now at 8 timber. Just need a bit more to make that 12 for the 6 homes. So it looks like maybe 2 wood per home, so long as it's large enough for an extension. Hitching post, homeless tents, all looking good, blowing in the wind. Look at all these details, too. The leaves and the branches. You can almost see the individual leaves or small branches versus also the tree itself swaying in the wind. Smoke changing direction based on the winds as well. You can kind of see them all facing the same direction, too, as the wind blows through. Impressive. All right, we have our materials needed to build our homes. Looks like it's now July. Go ahead and build the homes as we can. With the proper extensions too. Looks good. So of course, remember, we can also rotate if we want to. We can have 2 gargantuan long plots. Or we can rotate and build. Hey, looking good. Very nice. Alright, now, of course, if we had more time, we could lay out each individual home and try to give them kind of a more maybe organic layout to them, but for now we'll just build these homes here, as it takes up a lot of space and a lot of time to build those. Alright, free construction workers should come over now, so let's go ahead and go back to unassigning a few of these workers so they can help build those homes. And they'll start with whichever. Okay, 1 logger there. Take a look at our supplies. We have enough food for 6 months, so it'll last a little bit into the winter, just a little bit. Looks like we have exposed storage. Storehouse still gathering things like firewood, pelts, and timber. Ah, pelts are being gathered from the hunter. that does not just produce meat, but also pelts, which could be used for clothing later on, which might be useful at the tailor, which we can build under the industry tab here. The tannery turns pelts into leather, and then the weaver workshop, which turns wool into yarn and flax into linen. But what can we do with leather? Might be used at some other structure. There could be a tanner somewhere. Not a tanner, but a weaver. Or a tailor. There was a weaver. We'll have to see. Alright, homes are being constructed. Boy, do they look good. Very nice. Looks like wattle fences are being built, or wattle. Little lean-tos for keeping firewood dry. Supports and rafter elements for the walls and the roof. Doorways, windows. All looking fantastic. Now this should attract a 6th family to move into our little neighborhood, and that means somebody can work on maybe hunting. Or maybe gathering more logs, so that way we can then make firewood, which we should probably consider now making a firewood post. Somewhere in the town, maybe here.
Let's go, people!
And of course that'll have to be constructed too for survival of the winter, and possibly some industries that might require firewood. Very nice that the wood is also burning a beautiful white smoke, as the heavier industries such as the blacksmith would use coal, and so that would create kind of a more sootier, blacker smoke, which really cries of industry and mining. And this white smoke here is more of like cooking and heating homes, more residential type smoke, but eventually perhaps we could use coal at a different time. Wow, look at that. Home complete. Looking in a kind of Eastern European style. Very nice. And even an outhouse put into the back. Excellent. Alright. Peasants are coming to the village. This is great. Be sure to watch for supplies. Yep. So now our main goal of this game will be this. Just like it is in Anno 1800, and this is, I think, the important thing to take into note of this game. Many other games, such as the Pharaoh series, or Emperor Rise of the Middle Kingdom, Anno 1800, or even the wonderfully fantastic Farthest Frontier, we're going to have to give our people what they require to get to the next upgrade level. So we need to make sure that they have 2 food varieties from a marketplace, 2 clothing varieties from a marketplace, entertainment such as a tavern, and also faith. So pretty easily we can build ourselves a marketplace and a little clothing stall and a church, but the tavern might take a little bit of work to get to, since we might have to make alcohol for that sometime in the future. As we're with clothing, we've already got that set up with pelts, if that satisfies the need. We'll see here shortly. Alright, happiness and approval dropping a bit as homelessness is increasing, more people are moving in, but luckily homes are being built, everybody's going to get a house. So with the 5 people here, 5 of them need homes, and 6 should be able to move in after all of those are complete. So happiness should be on the rise shortly. Let's build a road here, across maybe from this house here. And we'll try to build a few more homes on either side, or at least lay them out. Which means that we're going to need to get way more people at that lumber mill to build these homes faster in anticipation of the winter months. Let's go ahead and not snap those. Although this is on-ticked, it still is kind of trying to magnetize to that roadway there. 2 plots will take 4 timber, so we'll have to wait a little bit for that to be complete. But the more people who are logging, the less building that goes on. So let's just go ahead and wait for them to gather those resources and bring them into place. Look at that, the oxen actually dragging a log into position. I can't believe it. I think that's so cool. We saw that before as they were building the hunting camp and the granary and such down there. Now I also think as we finish off the homes, this homeless tent area will disappear. So we should be able to build there. Might be able to put a marketplace there or something along those lines. Oh, look at that rain. Beautiful. 7 families now here. 2 of which are unassigned. 8 now. Great. If you noticed, the ox there was able to grab a little log that was sitting here in the storage area and is now bringing it to the construction area. So all objects are kind of individual. When a tree is cut down, it's turned into a log, it's brought back to the camp, and then is actually an asset that the game transports around. So that's pretty amazing. Raptoria construction finished on new homes. Good. Astonishing. Wow. Oh, we're just getting started, aren't we? Now we need more timber, though. Family joins one of the settlers. Excellent. More people coming in. Shows all the people living in the region. 1 male citizen can be drafted into the military. Ah, so we can't take entire families as fodder. We have to actually only take one, probably of the oldest son. Two more plots to build. I'm so eager to actually build this into a blueprint mode. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to build until we have the prerequisite resources, so it would be nice if that were different in the future, where we could actually lay things out ahead of time. There we go. Let's make sure we're still cutting that down. Enable idle laborers. Ooh, that is fantastic. If anybody is not working on any project, such as unassigned families, they'll come here to work at the lumber camp. Now, I'm going to be interested to see how this game handles crop rotation and or farming, and how the winter months will be automatically attended to. For example, these berries here are seasonal, as it says there below, seasonal resource. So what will happen in the winter time when berries and farms are no longer operational? Will the workers go and do something else automatically? Comforts and conveniences. As you walk the perimeter surveilling your village with pride, a woman walks past you. She's bent nearly double under a sack. You ask how long she's been walking, and she tells you it takes half a day to go get her all the food she needs for her family from the hunters and farmers that surround the village. If only there was a marketplace where your people could acquire food, clothing, and firewood, they'd be happier and have more time for other work. Okay, so the goal now is to build a food stall, firewood stall, clothing stall, and eventually upgrade 3 of the homes that we built previously to level 3. Now, this is going to be a long goal. It's going to take 1,800 days to complete, or at least we need to complete it by that time. So that's going to be our goal then, is to make absolutely sure that we do that in that time frame. So that is going to require, like, for example, a church. As we saw earlier, the goal of getting faith completed needs to be check marked. So we need the yellow diamond to be in each of these little squares. So that will be a good opportunity to build a church. Alright, let's continue working. Remember, the unassigned families left purposely. To complete building a house. Looks like we have 1 month of food remaining. Okay, let's get people back on hunting. And we'll get somebody on the forger here. So now we have berries and we have meat coming in. Let's assign a work area there. There we go. Alright, very nice. Now I'm hoping that the forger hut will automatically send workers to the logging camp if and when winter strikes and they're no longer able to work. Alright, now we gotta wait for more timber to come in. Now that we're not constructing anything, it shouldn't take too long to gather what we need. We could build some more huts this way, actually. And as you see, The homeless tents have disappeared from where they were originally. Now we can build 3 homes here, but they won't be able to have the extensions, which I'm okay with. Oh, that would be fantastic. We could build that there. Be interesting to try to fill all these spaces. Wow. Look at how intelligently the game can actually draw positions like that. Although they don't qualify, it's definitely trying to do its best to fit buildings into the space we provide. However, no matter how we draw it, it's going to try to do it the same way, which could create problems. Only one house to be constructed there, okay. This will be the real struggle. Now if we can fit these homes here... Oh, it was just white for just a moment. How cruel. Well, let's go ahead and try to build a road here. And we could leave room for a marketplace at the end of the road down there. Now, I think these systems are pretty damn good, actually, and I think there'll be a lot of room for improvement and feedback from everybody who gets a chance to play Manor Lords for its demo, too. So, all of these things that are pretty good are only going to get better as time goes on. Now, the developer has also delayed this game a few times, and receiving more and more funding from a new publisher and whatnot has definitely emboldened their efforts to make sure that things are completed correctly and as they like. So, well, look at that. That's, oh boy. That's interesting, isn't it? Let's go ahead and just build it. Just to get it done. I think it would have been fine the other way that we did it, but that's okay. That's alright. There we go. Alright, so we'll build a few homes here. And there you go. Not always is it going to be gridiron. This was a representation of the day I took off. I let somebody else do it. Good help is so hard to find, isn't it? Food stall. Oh, let's make sure we snap that to the grid now. Firewood. And actually, this is a very good spot to put these because it's right next to the water mill, or the water well, so lots of people are going to come over here already for food and water and clothing and firewood now. Very good. Alright, glory to Raptoria down below in the comment section if you hate this. But this will be improved upon, and I actually kind of think this is quite funny. It would be cool if we could also plant our own trees and other things in the back there. That'd be kind of neat. Alright, we're entering November, so surviving our first winter. We are now going to have to survive our first winter. We have no fuel. So let's go ahead and start assigning some jobs here. Actually, let's go with 2 people in the woodcutter. 2 people in the hunting cabin. Another person in the granary. And we will need to assign people down in the marketplace. So let's continue to add more homes. Wherever we can. There we go. Kind of hard not to build so tight-knit since there's so many restrictions to when we could build, space being one of them and materials also being another. Kind of hard to blueprint mode for the time being. But it's all good. Alright, food should be coming in then, like crazy because of all the... Yeah, we have berries and meat coming in, so it's not a lot, but it should be okay. And now firewood going to be a next concern. With anybody else who's now working or taking some time off, we'll be able to work on those construction plots. Materials coming in also for the marketplace there. Wow. Settlement's looking great. Absolutely fantastic. A church is going to have to be built up here. Logging camp will probably eventually move to a more distant area. More area will be cleared up top for us to build homes. A mining camp will go in, and farming will begin probably on one of these other sides wherever fertility and also flatness come together. Amazing. Well, that is all the time we have today for our first look at Manor Lords, the demo of a game coming soon to Steam, but that you can play today for free. So make sure you go ahead and download Manor Lords until October 10th, and you should be able to give it a try during Steam's next event. Maybe longer, but whenever you're seeing this, make sure you add it to your wish list and check it out. I'll see you all next time. Take care, and goodbye.